Hey listeners, Adam O'Donnell here. Today you get to hear from one of India's most successful startups, BharatAgri's, and their founder, Gole. Pre-COVID, they were selling through brick and mortar channels, and it was clear they had to make an immediate pivot.
These offline stores and distributors were closed. Our revenue came down to zero. We started reaching out to our users digitally. Then we went and we did very in-depth survey.
They decided to go for a freemium approach.
And the numbers were like fantastic. And then we decided that, okay, now let's focus only on the digital first adoption.
The next question was, how are we going to get this to millions of users?
We started tying up with all the local influencers, so tier 3 and tier 4 influencers in India, showing them that you work with us, we will promote you, you promote us. I think those kind of partnerships have helped us long way. We started distributing our content through them. Plus, we started creating content with them.
All this led to a massive transformation in the company. They've raised over 21 million. It's a great episode. You're going to love it. Hey, welcome to Sit Down Startup Founder Podcast. I'm your host, Adam O'Donnell, former founder and VC. I now work at Zendesk for Startups, where we offer 6 months free use of Zendesk for qualified high growth companies. Sai, thank you so much for coming on Sit Down Startup. I'm excited to hear your story of BharatAgri's and the growth that you've had. I know you've raised over $21 million according to Crunchbase and had great investors like Google for Startups, Better Capital. So first, can you tell us when you founded the company and what was it originally doing at the time?
Yeah. So we started company in 2017. The concept of the company started back in 2015 as a college project between me and my co-founder Siddharth Delani. And then, we were very fascinated by this field of agriculture, though we don't belong to this field. Initial concept was to, bring all the information in structured way and make a decision engine for farming in India.
Very neat. Have you pivoted off that initial mission for the product?
No. So the initial mission and the initial product has been always constant. The delivery or, maybe the market acquisition and go to market. These are the things we have gone to and fro a couple of times. But the initial idea has been always the same.
Very cool. How big are you now in terms of maybe employees or any other metrics?
Yeah. So currently we are 120 employees. We are working with 100K paid users in India. We have more than we are connected with more than 3 million users, and 100K users are actively subscribing for our services.
Well, congratulations. I'm excited to pull apart some of the growth that happened. And the heart of this show is to understand, like, all the companies that we interview had that hockey stick moment. And we want to understand, what did you do before the hockey stick moment? Maybe right before or things leading up to it that are going to help. So would love to hear one of the most impactful things that you did before that.
Definitely. So 2017 to 2020 was majorly the research part, because we were trying to integrate some of the agriculture science aspects to the core, new age internet technology. So we spent a lot of time in researching, ensuring that we are building a product which has a core value proposition, which is from the scientific and technological direction. 2019, we went to market. We started, exploring and giving out the products to user. And in 3-4 months, pandemic happened. Right after we started going out. So pandemic was initially it came as a disaster for the business, like every other business over the world. But what we realized was our distribution strategy, which we had earlier in mind, that was a very wrong strategy. And with pandemic, we decided to distribute it 100% digitally. And we started with, onboarding, like, I remember our April 2020, we had onboarded, I think, 100 users in a month. And today we are onboarding around 20 to 25,000 users every month. So that, digital pivot, which we did, rather than focusing on the offline channels for distribution, we went 100% digital. We ensured that the product value proposition is there 100% in digital. Secondly, we introduced a freemium product, because earlier we hadn't designed the product to have a freemium experience. So, quickly over a couple of months in pandemic, our teams were like, yes, we have to do something to get users. So we pivoted, we designed a freemium experience and designed a freemium to paid funnel. And that's what has brought this growth for us.
Very neat. I can only imagine around maybe say February and March of 2020 when you have your original strategy and it seems to be like everything is lost. There's no way the strategy is going to work anymore. Can you take us in the boardroom around that decision? Because I imagine there was a reason why you weren't doing a digital first strategy before the pandemic. So it had to have been a risky thing to make that decision. Could you tell us more about that process?
Definitely, it was a very difficult process. So basically, when if we see our user persona, these are almost 50% of the Indian population who are majorly in tier 3 and tier 4 cities in India. So there was a perception that these are the users who are not very mobile friendly and they are the first time internet users. So because of this perception, the go-to-market strategy was always offline that, you have a chain of retailers or distributors through whom you distribute even the technology products or even the app products have been, distributed through that rather than through a digital side. So we also hopped on to the strategy which everybody was using pre-pandemic. During pandemic time, all these offline stores and offline distributors were closed because of all the quarantines. So that was a time. So obviously our revenue came down to zero. We were doing really good before pandemic. Our revenue came down to zero, and we just couldn't take the fact that we don't know when it will start. And that time we started, very small things like we started reaching out to our users digitally. We started hosting a lot of webinars for our users. And that's when we realized that the perception that these are the first time mobile users or first time internet users is wrong. Then we went and we did very in-depth survey to understand if I do a digital first acquisition and if I launch a freemium product, will there be adoption or not? And the numbers were like fantastic. Obviously pandemic was one of the reasons that everybody shifted to internet, but that worked really well for us. And then we decided that okay, now let's focus only on the digital first adoption. um, we put forward this case to the board definitely. And the one of the major thing which helped us was showing the ROI of it. With this, earlier we were only in one state in one state in India, but now we are present in 10 states with very basic, like we don't have any feet on ground, we don't have any distributors. Today, if I want to expand outside India, it just, few clicks away from me. So we showed this ROI to our investors, and I think they were super, super helpful. Like they always believed in our vision.
That's so good. Did you make the decision to do a freemium before you showed it to the board, and then after that show them the ROI, or did you try to estimate the ROI before you built the freemium?
No, I think we went ahead building freemium because that was a time the board was like, just conserve your cash, uh, ensure that you have a good runway. Rest, whatever you do, is like just do good for the business. And I think we were funded by then, and our seed investors have been one of the super helpful investors. Like basically they believe in our vision, they believe in the founders, and they know that whatever we are going to do is good for the company. So there is always very little convincing for them.
That's great. I think that could be a whole other podcast of making sure you select the right investors. Right.
Definitely.
Let's go back to once you decided to do a digital first strategy. Can you walk us through how you laid out that strategy and kind of where the freemium fit in? Like, what were the channels? How did you pitch it in those channels? How did you test out the right channels digitally?
So freemium was a totally new experience for us. And so obviously like when we decided to go premium, what we did was like our paid feature is also information feature. So 20% of our paid feature, we opened it as a part of a freemium to give user the experience of the paid. Plus, we went very we went into a very strong content strategy. So other than the paid feature, we started creating a lot of content which is more relevant to our users, and personalizing this content. It was just not the content which just users are coming and not finding relevant. But the personalization is something which we focus. And then after that, we started integrating some more very interactive aspects also. We tried gamification. Users were, then over the year, like with respect to agriculture, there are different stages through which the crop goes. So we ensured that all kind of gamification is there, and consumption of that information is not difficult for them. So we focused on a lot of audio and video content. So these are the few strategies which helped us initially to get users more organically. The second thing which late after this, what we did was we started tying up with all the local influencers, so tier 3 and tier 4 influencers in India. Uh, we started distributing our content through them. Plus, we started creating content with them. So that with this, we could double down on our organic user acquisition, and always the organic users who are coming for looking at the content which they will see in app also, their retention obviously started increasing. And that's how, so we first sorted the acquisition problem, and then the retention problem also, it was part of the acquisition only for us. uh, and then we created right user journeys to navigate these users from uh, unpaid to paid subscription. And that's where right now even we are, I think this particular aspect of, top of the funnel to bottom of the funnel is continuously evolving and improving. So there are a lot of learnings over time, and we are like right now also, I feel like, there are a lot of things which we need to do to improvise this one.
Wonderful. Help me understand how you personalize your content, because I know everyone knows the power of content strategy, but in terms of the personalization, it sounds like you did something different there based on how you talked to your customers before.
Yeah. So see, one of the difficult aspect in India is the number of languages, number of dialects of the languages. So one of the very important personalization for us is the location based. Okay, so every probably 200 kilometers there is a different dialect of the same language also. So we are ensuring that our content changes as you move around India, and we are managing like a lot of content that gives user a level of different personalization, because vernacular is something new for the TG which we are working with. Okay, these are the users who are majorly YouTube and WhatsApp users. They don't go beyond this. So this is probably seventh or eighth app which they install. So there, if when we start giving them personalization which other apps are not giving, so that creates a huge stickiness for them, because they realize, okay, this is something for me. Now, the second thing with respect to location is, with location, we fetch, through our weather service providers, we fetch a lot of weather data. And based on this weather data, we have our own algorithm which creates weather-based dynamic advisory. So this is specifically for our users and their crops. So this weather-based dynamic advisory is something which is our one of the very important USP, and this is the module which was earlier part of our paid module, which we created, which we decided we'll go freemium with this. And this module brings the majority stickiness, because whether the uncertainties, this is something which is very difficult for the users to understand, and what action to take based on that. And this module solves that problem. So this is the major personalization which we did, like language and the advisory part.
Very neat. Can we talk about the influencer strategy that you had? How did you decide to do that? And you said specifically tier 3, tier 4 influencers. So they're not the most popular ones. Help us with kind of that thought process.
So now also when we talk with different stakeholders, right, from VCs to others, so they are shocked that even Indian VCs, they are shocked that okay, there are influencers in tier 3 and tier 4. Yeah, so definitely there are. We have to hunt for them. Okay, so our users are very much on short video platforms. So earlier TikTok was operational in India. So TikTok, now there are likes of TikTok in India, then YouTube. So, if you see our users' mobile usage, it will be majorly on some or mix of the video platforms. So what we did was we started looking at what all kind of content is there which they consume. Then through that we actually explored, and then we realized that there are huge number of content creators, and there are creators, who have like 10 plus million followers to, probably 10K followers. So there is all spectrum of that. So now we work with three different buckets of influencers. So one are the, the major, who have like 5 million, 10 million plus following. So they are very famous. You can Google search and find them. It's not difficult. You have to pay them and get the things done. Then there is a middle bucket, which is more of a aspirational. They have 200, 300K followers, and so these are very interesting people. They work for all different kind of companies, because Amazon is also trying to get into tier 3 and tier 4, and likes of Amazon and e-commerce in India are trying to get into tier 3 and tier 4. So these people are pro. They are making videos for a lot of companies, and they started talking about our features. And the last one, which is the long tail, these are 10K to 50K uh, follow following influencers. So these are the most interesting to work with, because we always show them that if you make video with us, you have an opportunity to grow with us. Because in 2020 specifically, uh, we were also conserving on cash. We didn't have enough cash. We hadn't raised our pre-series. This was like we were doing all this with only our seed funding. So that time we worked with this long tail influencers, showing them that you work with us, we will promote you, you promote us. Let's see how far we can go with that. And I think those kind of partnerships have helped us long way now. Now those are the influencers who have gone to 1 billion and all, and they still work with us at very comfortable rates.
I love how you thought about that. And those tier 3 or those tier 3, tier 4 long tail, were you paying them anything, or was it simply just, hey, like together we're going to expand the influence?
So initially we were not paying, but we were ensuring that they have right gadgets. Like some people didn't have right mobile, so we ensured that we are giving them right mobile stands, like mics, mobiles, whatever. And after raising our pre-series A, then we were better in cash position, and after that we started paying.
Very cool. Well, this has been very interesting. The final question is, what's your superpower as a CEO?
Oh my God. Yeah, so I think bias to action. I'm very quick, and at times I expect my team also to be very quick about taking decisions, going about it. And that is something which we did during our pivot also, which helped us grow. The other thought process was, okay, let's wait when pandemic gets over and when we can restart our channel. But like I just want to move forward with whatever is going on. I think bias to action.
That's amazing. I feel like I'm similar to that. Sometimes those decisions can lead you in the wrong direction if you take them, if you're like making the wrong decision quickly, right? But is there a way that you kind of discern quickly? Like, are you maybe like spend 24 hours, like really think about it and then make it? Or are you just like, hey, I have a gut feeling and I'm going to go for it?
Yeah. Definitely I have made wrong decisions, like no doubt about it. But now if I weigh, I think, there is obviously learning out of that. So now over time, the decisions are becoming better, but I can't just wait and watch things. Like I always have that, thing to act. I need to act.
I love that. And it's kind of like you said, I don't like the idea of waiting for the pandemic to just be done. So you're like, we're going to just take action. We're not going to just wait here.
Yeah.
This has been incredible. I know it's going to be helpful for a lot of our listeners. So thank you so much for your time. That's a wrap. Thanks for listening. Make sure to subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and Google. If you want to learn more about Zendesk for Startups and our free offer, please check out our website at zendesk.com/startups.